This is a demo of exercise 4, professional typesetting. I will have minor comments as I work to hopefully help you guys understand what to look for when typesetting blocks of text and how to fix different typesetting errors. Here is the assignment in Drive. Make sure you've listened to the lecture before you begin. Going to set up a new InDesign document, 6 by 9 inches in spreads, and then I will flow the copy into it. Here's a good tip. With no text boxes created, just your text tool on, you can change your default font. That will be what happens instead of Minion Pro 12 point every time you open your InDesign, which is really helpful because Minion Pro is ugly. So now that I've changed that, just flow in the text. I'm going to make a title page. This is tracking. I chose a super family, so I have a lot of different weights that I can work with within this one typeface. You can use your eyedropper to grab other typesetting that you've already done somewhere else. Switching between normal and preview really helps you understand what your document is starting to look like. This exercise is about typesetting, so you can definitely just do a black and white document. If you feel like coming back through and adding a bit more design to it with color and graphics, photography, it's completely up to you. I'm going to do your bare bones typesetting assignment, but you for sure can get as involved in this as you would like. One tool I really like to have on when I'm working on large blocks of text is Type show hidden characters. This puts all of these invisible blue characters on your document. So there's a dot to show every space. This means a tab. So if I hit tab again, you can see I get another one. This is your hard return or paragraph return. So if you hit the enter key, that's a hard return. Additionally, if you hit shift enter, that's called a soft return. That's this character here that looks like a hyphen with a down at the end of it. So soft returns are what you use to adjust your rag because it still retains the full paragraph when you're working with paragraph styles. A hard return is what you want to use when you're breaking text into individual paragraphs. And you'll see me use both of these tools as I flow this copy document. Alright, I'm going to work on setting up what I want my body copy style to look like, and then I will apply it to the document. That feels fairly readable to me. Designers hate hyphens. Make sure you always turn hyphenate off. I'm going to turn this into a paragraph style. If I click apply to section, it will automatically be body copy. And then that's done. Since I had the whole thing highlighted anyway, it should all be already formatted. But if you only had a certain section highlighted, it's good to just make the paragraph style. When you find the pound symbol or the hashtag, that means it's the end of the copy, so there's no more information. Okay. I think I'm going to adjust the margin so that I can put some page numbers on here. So I have both right and left hand pages of the master spread highlighted. I can come up to margins and columns, and you can see it changing automatically on my InDesign document as I work, so I can see what it is. If I come up under, I've got my text cursor in this text box I just drew, type insert special character markers, current page number, and you get an A. So then if I highlight this A, I can format it. Okay, another thing I can do is I could have just put some text blocks here. want a page number on the first page. You can see now that the page numbers have appeared, but I want the text blocks to be different, so I'm actually just going to delete all these pages. They haven't formatted any of the text yet. And I'm going to recopy it and paste it in and it'll auto flow now that I know what I want it to look like. So to be able to get the content to flow into my master page, since you can see it's locked down right now, you're going to hit on a PC Shift Control. On a Mac, you're going to hit Shift Command, and then you click on the text box that you created on the master page, and that activates this text box so that I can just paste in the text. And if you give it a second, you can see now my InDesign has automatically given me 4 pages to fit all the information that I just pasted in. So that's super awesome. It's much faster than how I did it the first time, where I was making my own text boxes and my own pages and manually linking them. But you can do that as well. As long as the text is linked from text box to text box, however you get it to that stage is up to you. Okay, so now highlight everything. I'm going to hit body copy. I'm going to delete the stuff I don't need because it's on the first page. Alright, so now I have all the text in an InDesign document in a layout that I'm happy with. It's very traditional book look. Okay? And even looking at this, I think I might want to add a paragraph space at the beginning, an indent at the beginning of each paragraph, just to help the reader as well. So here I can go in the paragraph style and I can add that in. There we go. Oops, I did that backwards. I'm so used to making bullets. There we go. I think that looks nice. Okay, that looks pretty readable. I'm going to save as I go. Okay, so now it's all about making sure the typesetting is good. So one of the first things that you're going to look for are going to be, we're going to look for widows and orphans. So individual words at the end of a paragraph or one single line of a paragraph on the next page. We're going to look for tiny little words hanging at the end of lines that should really get pushed down to the next line. And we're going to check for the rags to be not too wavy. You want a pretty consistent rag. Those are the main things we're going to look for as we go through this document. Okay? And then other things like this symbol is not showing up in InDesign. Let's look at what it was. Oh, it's a copyright symbol. Okay, so we'll add that back in manually. Let's do that first. Type, insert, special character, symbol, copyright. Oh, I guess it doesn't exist in this typeface that I chose. It's weird. There we go. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to just make this a little bit smaller since it's just the copyright information. It does not need any special information. Push it down a little bit. Okay. This is a title, so it should be in italics. Oops. Looks like this whole thing is the title. Oh, I lost this symbol again. Alright, and this is a orphan, so we need to fix that. So I'm going to add some soft returns, which means Shift Enter to break the information down like so. And I might even put it all the way near the bottom. Okay, so that copyright line's good. When you're copying and pasting out of Word or Google Drive or wherever, things like underlines, italics, superscripts, subscripts, footnote numbers, all that stuff gets lost. So you do actually have to skim, if not read, the information while you go through and typeset to make sure that you haven't lost any of that information. So oftentimes I'll come through and just do a skimming of the text to make sure that there isn't special formatting that I need to mimic in my document. This one is pretty straightforward, so you don't have any of that to worry about. But oftentimes I gave you the correct M dashes here, but if you get stuff from clients, sometimes it's a hyphen or double hyphen, and that means you have to go back through and put in the correct dashes in your InDesign document. Other things like checking all the spacing, all that stuff, that's on you as the designer when you're formatting to make sure that things look correct. So there's no like bolds or underlines or italics in this text, so we don't have to worry about that today. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through. If you are afraid that you have double spaces, you could always do a Control F and do a find, period, space, space, change to period, space in the story, and you can do a find just to make sure you don't have any of that kind of stuff going on. You could look for a hyphen because you know that there really shouldn't be any hyphens in this text since you're not hyphenating the paragraphs. So here's a hyphen, first class, that's correct. Fine, 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 fine. So all of those hyphens are appropriate. So you're good. Oops, see, this hyphen is incorrect. That is a range, so that should be an N dash. So sometimes if you hover, it will give you options, but otherwise it's just pretty easy to come in here and just add an N dash. You can go up under type, insert special character, hyphens and dashes, N dash. There you go. Okay, way back to the beginning. Good. So running through your document and just checking for double spaces after periods and inappropriate hyphens is just a really good practice to get into. If you just let InDesign do a find for you, you don't have to worry about reading the whole content quite as intensely. Alright, so we did that. Now I think it's time to fix our rag and adjust any hyphens or adjust any widows that we find. Okay, So what I like to do is just be kind of zoomed out like this and just kind of let my eye travel down the rag. If I see anything that's really bulbous, or there's just a lot of like long line, short line, long line, short line, I want to try to fix that and try to make each paragraph as rectangular as possible. While you're doing that also, if there's just like little crap words like an at or an a that kind of feel like it's hanging off the end of a line, you want to push those down to the next line as well. Just again to create a very nice rectangular block of text. This paragraph is okay. Like these paragraphs are okay for what this is, which is a book. So that's fine. I don't necessarily love how was and are like, I feel like they're kind of sticking out. So if I hit Shift Enter, that pushes the text down, but I kind of feel like that's worse. That's better. So I'm just using Shift Enter to create soft returns. And you can see now there's a bunch of these soft return symbols on this block of text versus the hard returns right here if I just hit Enter. I like to do this in preview mode though, because that's how people are actually going to read your book. Fine. Here's like a little at. Let's tuck that under with a soft return. A lot of how you do spacing but around the M dash is a little bit of a client preference, but I believe the technical correctness is that there should be spaces around your M dashes. Like so. Which kind of pushed this and out, which I don't like, so I'm going to push that under, and then I'm going to stick a rod under. That looks a little bit better. One other trick to fixing paragraphs is just to use the tracking. You can track paragraphs in up to about -20 depending on the typeface, and your reader won't really notice. So sometimes just tracking a paragraph will change the rag just enough that makes it just look a little bit nicer. And you can even change it there. So that's 0, and then it kind of changes to 10, and you're not even going to notice, but the actual rag looks a little bit nicer. I might even try that on this one. You can see where my soft return is. I'll delete those. There we go. Alright, so here I'll undo it so you can see what it looked like. So this is what the paragraph looked like, and you can kind of see it's like a little wobbly. I just kind of pulled the whole thing in a little bit. When you're working on like a book that's like hundreds of pages, you're gonna let something like this go, and you're not gonna be that picky about it. It's not horrific. It's fine. If you're working on business collateral or things that are shorter in length, where it's a little more realistic for you to go in and make sure that all the lines are really nicely formatted, you're going to go through and make sure all the lines are really nicely formatted. So in this exercise, it's all about making your lines nicely formatted, so you're going to take the time to make sure everything looks nice. So here you've got of at the end of the line twice. That kind of seems awkward. If you can fix it, that's great. If you can't, it's okay. But I can just track it in and I can fix it. Here's again like a bunch of tiny words at the end of the paragraph. It's kind of ugly. That's better. Here is a single word at the end of the line. So it looks like we could just easily do that. Soft return. Let's see if we can add a word here. And we can. Better. I'm going to push this down on the just to make the paragraph look nicer. Here's an A. Let's move that. Let's add some space around the M dash. I'm going to leave the because it's by the width. This paragraph's kind of ugly. That looks better. Here's an A. Good. Okay. There. Better. So we'll probably just look at it one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. No, I think that looks pretty good. One other thing I should point out is one thing that you should check for is that you have smart quotes. It should be default turned on. That means your quote marks are at an angle like this. If you have straight up and down quotes, those are called dumb quotes. Over to my glyphs. Let's see if I can find them here. These are dumb. That means like inch mark, right? Or if you had one, it would be foot mark. Those are called dumb quotes. These are called smart quotes. And quotes in a paragraph of block of text, you want smart quotes. These ones. Okay, so if your typeface or your InDesign is set to dumb or not smart, it'll look like this straight up and down one, and you want to fix those. You can fix those by going in the glyphs panel, which is under window, glyphs, and selecting the correct quote marks if you need to fix it for some typeface issue. Same with like this O clock. Make sure that's curvy, not straight. Just different things to keep in mind as you're formatting text. Okay, so this would be done, and I could save out this file. I asked you to package it and export out a PDF. I want the PDF in spreads, so you're going to have to do the PDF separate from the packaged file unless you have a PDF preference already established that exports out in spreads. If you don't know what I'm saying, let's just do it manually. So we're going to do exercise 4 demo. I'm going to save it. I'm going to make sure spreads is checked on. I want all the pages. I don't need to view it after exporting, so I'll just hit export. And then I'm going to package my file. So file, package, that way I can see the InDesign file and make sure everything looks good. Okay, save. Please make sure the fonts is checked. If you have any graphics, make sure that is checked. Please make sure you have an IDML file included. You don't need the PDF because you made your own PDF. And then you'll just hit package. This will just yell at you about sharing fonts, say that's great, and you're done. So you're gonna take this whole folder. I'll have to put my PDF in here. Where did that go? Here we go. Put that in there. Okay, so I want this whole folder on Drive in the Submit folder, and then you are done. Great job, everybody. And again, you can have as much fun with this exercise as you want. If you really want to design up a spread or this excerpt to make it look really nice with photography and different graphic elements, colors, by all means, go for it. It could be a nice little portfolio piece for you. But at the minimum, I want you to do what I did. Check the typesetting. Just make a really nice looking large block of text. Thanks.